welcome to the prime time political program in Africa. It's called Politics and You on People's Television. My name is Anthony Momodi. Welcome to today's edition. It promises to be truly awesome because I've got the finest panelists you can ever wish for. To my right, I've got the National Auditor of the Young Democratic Party in the person of Reform Ibrahim Jauro in the studios. Nice to have you join us.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And to my left, I've got, you call him heavyweight. He's called Okwa Ndigbo. He is Chief Chukwuemeka Ezife. You cannot miss him. If you miss him for anything else, he's always sporting white, and the white beards makes him awesome. Good evening. Nice to have you join us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, let's cast our mind back to the 2015 elections, where the Anambra Central Senetorial elections was annoyed, and since then it has been loot of court cases, one after the other. But the one that comes to our mind most relevantly is February 29, 2017, where Justice Anwuli Chikere did say that the PDP directed the INEC to allow the PDP and its candidate to, stand for the elections. Then came the counter suit by the APGAB candidate and the party, talking about Chief Victor Ume, which eventually said that ruling would not stand and meant that the PDP and its candidate were thrown away from the elections. But it came in November 2017 again when Justice John Soho did make a pronouncement saying that the INEC should present the certificate of return to Dr. Obiora Okonkwo as the right person. But just as that was about to happen, we had again January this year, January 12th specifically, when he reversed his judgment, saying that Dr. Obiora had misled the court and thus said he was standing by the initial rulings that kicked out the PDP and its candidate from the elections. It's no longer news that Victor Ume eventually did win the election, the rerun elections, and that's what we'll be reviewing tonight. And like I told you, the two panelists, they'll be doing a great job at it. But let's just kickstart first of all, looking at the drama that ensued as regards Anambra Central. How key is Anambra Central, and what would you say the electorates have lost in this time frame?
Well, I thank God, and I thank all of you who contributed to pressure. For more than 1 year, we were not represented, the Anambra Central. And you know, how many states do we have in the southeast? Only 5. 3 senators per state. So when you drop one, it's very heavy. So we thank God it is over. We thank the Nigerian people, and we beg the judges to be more committed to their jobs and not just give judgment anyhow. So now the story has changed, and God is with us. Victor Ume worked like jackass. I sometimes worked with him for the election of the incumbent governor. Now the governor paid back by leading every campaign for Victor Ume. And the people of Anambra State are very happy. Why? Victor Ume is vocal. Victor Ume is knowledgeable. Victor Ume is committed to the progress of our people. He will represent us very well. And that's starting a few days from now.
Do you think he has enough time to make a very good impression, knowing fully well that 2019 is very close?
Well, for him, 2019 is already here because he has won 2019 already. There's no way available to anybody to come out in Central Senetorial Zone of Anambra State and beat Apuga. But David Tume was the former chairman of Apuga, and he will be standing on behalf of Apuga. So there's, in fact, you can count that there is no election coming in Anambra Central Senatorial Zone, because the person who occupies it is going to hold tight to it.
All right, let's look at, would you say PDP shot herself on the foot with the way it went about the court cases?
First of all, I want to congratulate Victor Ume for emerging as the Senator of Anambra Central. For us, the smaller parties, the more diverse the Senate, the better for us. I have always considered him a strong horse because he has not wavered in his faith in his party. He has gone through thick and thin to get to this level. Now, the issue of the PDP is a classic case. If you say shot itself in the foot, it's even an aberration. It's much more than that. The party has impugned on even itself over and over since 1999 to date. And what they are going through now is nothing but a result of all the deeds they did in the past. And they have not learned their lesson, I'm sorry to say. But what happened with the court cases and the judiciary, I hope that the judiciary will be able to come up with a sort of guideline to guide on these things. What are the court registrars doing? Why do we have issues where people run from one court to another, one division to another, a high court in the state, high court in the federal, to receive all sorts of judgments? I think we should get to a point where if you register the same case twice in two different courts, you should be penalized. The thing is, judiciary needs a lot of work to be done. Yesterday, the INEC chairman, Professor Yakubu, was appealing to the judiciary to help intervene because of the proliferation of cases against INEC. And you could see clearly that the Chief Justice of the Federation was telling him they will do their best, but it is not easy for them to do so, because as soon as they give pronouncements or what goes on, what does not go on, you think they are taking sides. So they need to come up with a sort of guideline, like just the same way they have the criminal codes, to be able to guide all these political cases from being registered in several courts at the same time.
Are you likely to, do you expect more litigations even with Ume's victory? Do you foresee litigations coming?
I'm expecting a lot of litigation from the part of PDP. I'm expecting litigation from the part of APC. Remember, Senator, the Minister of Labour, his name,
Chris Ngige.
Yes, he had pulled out of the race. He said he had written INEC to pull out of the case, but despite that, whether his party or his name was still registered on the ballot paper, which means a lot of void votes went that way. What was the position? If somebody pulls out of an election before it happened, what is the procedure? So we're likely to see some legal issues from that angle.
Chief, do you expect to see legal issues, and do you think they are going to stand the test of time?
We are begging the justices to help the country. It is corruption that is the main problem. We must call a spade a spade. President Trump said that we are a shithole, and some people are protesting. We are worse than shithole. A spade should be called a spade. That helps us to realize we're not doing well. The court cases and their judgments, some people say the judgments are bought. And therefore...
Do you agree that judgments are bought, especially if you look back at the Anambra elections where it was said votes were bought and sold, the governorship elections?
I don't know. I didn't offer to buy or to sell. But I'm saying that justice in Nigeria should be just, so that people know that this is the final. Whatever comes there, we should take it. I was at the reception of the Chief Justice at Calabar, and he promised just that during his tenure, he will make sure that justice is just.
Do you see any form of backlash for the parties like PDP and APC because of what has happened in Anambra?
Oh, not from what happened in Anambra, no. I thought you were talking generally.
Well, even generally, do you see any backlash?
I heard somebody saying one young woman said that he has given red card to APC. He has given red card to PDP. And it's not difficult to, it's not easy to challenge her. Because where we are is bad. Where we're coming from is bad.
But where are we going to? Is it also bad?
If nothing happens, if there's no change, where we're going to will be worse than where we are and where we are coming from. But the northern people say Alaina, go there. I think Nigeria has been brought to the lowest possible point. We have nowhere else to go but up. And I'm expecting you, young people like you, and the Honorable President, Ibrahim. I'm expecting you to take the challenge and remake Nigeria.
Can we take the challenge if the older ones, the older generations are not willing to let go?
There's no question of willingness there. You struggle and take power. Nobody gives you power.
But the authors start against the young ones.
No.
If you look at them, they have the money, they have the electricity the system in their hands.
I am already out.
Okay.
In Anambra State, I gave some talks saying, even if they ask you to take the oath. If they put a coffin, say you should jump across it, jump across it. If they bring money, take it. There's hunger in the land. Therefore, do anything they tell you. But when you go to vote, vote according to your conscience. That neutralizes every oath you take it. As long as you follow your conscience and vote, you have cheated the cheat.
Okay, let's look at you made mention of INEC and the judicial system. You also made mention of it, that the key role they have to play. Do you think INEC was really fair or do you think INEC took sides, especially when the last court judgment came in, and how quick they agreed to fix a timetable? Do you think there was any kind of foreplay?
Yeah, in all honesty, the people at INEC are humans. Sometimes they get frustrated. So there's a tendency that they would go with a judgment that they feel is more likely to benefit INEC. For instance, if
INEC and in extension the presidency.
I think the president fairly, I think the president does not control what goes on in INEC. I think I can give this president that is a bit more independent. But the INEC chairman himself will be frustrated when he sees 100 court cases on his table, piling up. And then he would jump at a decision that seems to favor him the most, and he will go on with it. So it's all about what his own legal team tells him. If the legal team of INEC will always be trying to save INEC money and time. So they will jump at judgments that favor them the most. I think, I don't think that INEC is favoring a particular candidate for any reason. It's just favoring its own system.
Talking about backlash for APC and PDP, how strong do you think the backlash is going to be, both in Anambra and generally?
Which backlash are you waiting for again? Where was APC and PDP in senatorial election? Where were they? PDP squandered an opportunity, 16 years. Now, APC is thinking it will get to 16 years to also squander or make. Unfortunately, Nigerians are fed up within the last 2 years. There's hunger in the land. There's agitation, there's a lot of insecurity, people are tired. People know that it is not well with the presidency. I'm going to give you an example. Everybody knows that the president does not seem to be in control. A lot of people believe in him personally, but they don't believe in the people around him. 2 years after, no minister has been dropped. Are you saying the ministers are functioning at 100% capacity? If they are not, why not drop the ones that are functioning below capacity and replace them with new ones? This is a minister, this is the cabinet that has no young person. Today I'm about 40 years of age, and someone will still call me a small boy. I'm happy that somebody who is a generation ahead of me is encouraging me and challenging me. But today I go to a village and still my uncle wants to call me and sit me down to tell me what to do. I already have my own children and responsibilities in school. So it is time for the young people like me. I decided to join politics not because I want to make money as people think there's money, because there's more money in business than politics, but because I just want to institute that change that I feel my generation should.
Yeah. Okay, what should be the focus of women now and Africa in terms of what they should do for the Anambra people looking at the just concluded elections?
Well, with so many months lost. Women has a task. When he comes to the Senate, he will look into things that have been ignored from...
Are there key things you have in mind that he should look at?
There are not too many key things. People are there. The Senate has been working, and there were 2 senatorial members from Anambra State. Yeah. So you can't see getting whole as such, but you know that a lot of work has to be done.
Okay, let's just shift a little bit. Looking at with an eye to the 2019 elections, what are your expectations for especially the new political parties, like example, the Young Democratic Party? What are your expectations? Do you think they truly stand a chance, and what should be their direction?
Well, I think it depends on how hard they work. Nobody's dashing you anything. Young is an advantage.
Okay.
Ability to work.
Okay.
But it can be a very weak advantage because they may not have the money to fund activities. But I must tell you, I don't think money will count so much in 2019. Because I believe many of us are ready to tell Nigerian people the truth. They have seen failure, monumental failure. Nigeria is gifted more than any country you can think of from every aspect. But Nigeria has failed God. Who gave us all those results? Nigeria has failed man. There is no basis to continue the way we are. Everything points to necessity for change. And if the older ones cannot change, the younger ones should take over. But it is not automatic that when you are young, you are good. Some are worse than in materialism, some are worse. And some old ones are better in materialism. But as a general rule, killing up. I don't see APC going anywhere. Their own failure is so comprehensive.
Even with the president's stance or seeming loved by her people, do you think...
Which president is loved by his people? President Buhari is not loved by Nigerians. People are too hungry to love anything. President Buhari. So, people can deceive themselves if they like to, but there has not been a government that performed so poorly in this country. I am not personally against Buhari. We were friends. He brought me to his house in Kaduna, fed me well. He didn't give me the alcoholic drink because he's Muslim. But I enjoyed myself in his place. And then there was a time myself and Falai helped him. So it is not personal. Whether he is in charge of what is going on, nobody knows.
But if you had the opportunity to speak with him, would you ask him not to contest in 2019?
I don't think he will contest. After all this noise by the cabal, not even by the president, all this hunting of people. The other day they took David Mark for questioning.
Yes.
Because it was heard that he's aspiring for. And I hear one person who's already in detention. You talk about against the own policy of.
Would you say the president is not aware of all this?
I don't believe the president is aware of all this. But he should be. There's no defense. The president is the president. The president knows that virtually every security apparatus is headed by Muslim Fulani. Huh? What kind of country is this? You chase out strong, experienced officers for the South, especially Igbo and Christians. Wash them out. It's clear that you have something
as an agenda.
And it is not very difficult for Nigerians. Whatever it is has failed and must fail because God loves Nigeria. Compare Nigeria with America or the Asian countries. Do we have hurricanes or tsunamis? Huh? So, 2019, something good, something different will happen to Nigeria. We may not know from what side it comes, but it's most unlikely to come from APC. Most unlikely also to come from PDP.
All right. With all here said, are there areas you strongly disagree?
Well, I am a generation.
Let's don't say disagree, but have a different opinion.
Well, I generally agree, but I and my generation have a lot of anger in us.
Okay.
Well, his own generation keeps blaming us for not taking the bull by the horns and not being responsible. But they seem to forget that they birthed us and they trained us. So we actually learned what they trained
from
us.
them.
But it is left for us, just like you said, to decide our own fate. At the time, General Buhari, Gawan, the rest of them were running this country, they were just out of their teens, barely inexperienced. And they learned the ropes and have remained on the ropes till today. The average Nigerian politician has experience of 40 years. 40 years from 1979 till date, either in a military government or out of a military government. Then the average young person below 40 years has no experience.
So what's going to be the game plan now if you're to succeed?
Just like he said, I do not think that the game of money
will be
paid in 2019. I'm going to advise people, especially young people. Well, if you collect Maggie, in 2015 election, in my own constituency, in my own ward, in my own polling station, I saw someone collect Maggie to change his vote. Now, tell me how many pots of soup 4 cubes of Maggie will cook. But what I'm trying to say is that it's high time to take responsibility for the leaders that you produce. It is your vote that determines. If you collect money and sell your conscience, then you should not blame. I am in this politics, for instance, so that tomorrow I will not blame another person. So that I would know that I've done my part. And I've carved a niche for myself and created a path for my people to follow. That is the reason why I'm encouraging young people Do not sit on Facebook and Twitter and insult from morning to night. Go and get your PVCs. Belong to a political party. Belong to the process. Political party is the only platform by which we can produce a democratic leader. You are not a member of a political party. And if they ask you, you want to join APC or PDP or even ABGA, the only reason people want to join these big parties is because there's free money to spend.
All right, let's look at Chief raised a very important issue about the 2019, the president not likely to run. From all you've witnessed and seen, do you share the optimism?
Well, like you said, it's an optimism. I wish the president would not run. He has not done well.
Do you think he's going to fall flat if he runs?
No, I don't think so. Do you know why? I have not seen a credible
candidate.
Well, I would not say credible. I've not seen that formidable candidate that will replace the sort of followership that Buhari has. If we get to that level, it means Nigerians are ready to throw out the baby with the bathwater and take anything else that comes. Then it's unfortunate.
All right, let's look at, with all that's happening in this Anambra Central Senatorial rerun elections, what would you say are the key lessons that INEC, the political parties, and all the stakeholders, including the electorates, should or would have learned from the rerun elections?
Well, I don't know what to say about that. The judges have said what they should have learned. The politicians have their own lessons to learn. Going to court. Then the people of Anambra State, we need their leadership as what is coming. Not governor.
Okay.
We want some elders who will be hungry and not eat some food offered them.
Ohaneze doesn't have that.
Ohaneze did fantastically.
Okay.
I gave a lecture, and the Ohaneze chairman grabbed it and eventually produced a document which Anambra adopted. I wanted rigid rotation.
Rigid?
Rigid rotation.
Okay. Because
it will reduce the cost of politics.
When you say rigid orientation, can you just give us a little bit of...
Okay, in the case of Anambra State, we have, of course, like every other state, we have 3 senatorial
zones.
The governor resulted from zoning to the north. And there was people from all kinds trying to take over. And I felt that I owe it to my state to make sure that anybody seriously coming to run for governor comes from the senatorial zone of that incumbent governor. So I wrote and delivered, but the Ohaneze chairman did the main work. Now with that, the competition is reduced. The cost is also reduced. And you have a better chance of a good quality person coming out. If the whole state is competing for that thing, the man who has the greatest amount of money will be favored. But with rigid rotation, we say, if you don't like the incumbent governor, somebody from that zone can take over from him. And the person must undertake to do only 4 years. And people who came from other zones, we are undertaking to do 4 years. But you know, after being 1 year, 3 years in office, they begin to say that the women of my zone, the men of my zone, or the old men of my zone, the young men of my zone want me to continue. So we don't want to rely on such promises. So what have we learned in Anambra State? I can say that a lot has been learned in Anambra State. 21 local governments out of 21 local governments we are won by the governor. You come to Victor, 7 local governments out of 7 local governments. Even governors, candidates did not win the awards, not to talk about the local government. This shows a people who are maturing in politics. And I hope it will be like that in Nigeria. And I hope that tribalism, ethnic consideration, religious consideration disappear from Nigerian politics. Well, it is not going to disappear. But we should be brave for that to disappear.
But is there something we can do to reduce it if we cannot totally eradicate it?
We cannot eradicate it, we can reduce it. When I come out and talk, if you are Muslim, if you listen to me well, you know I'm talking politics in the Quran. If you are Christian, if you listen to me well, you know what I'm saying is consistent with the Bible. So, when people are doing the wrong thing in the name of God, killing children, God's own children, saying they're doing so in the name of God, with false promise they gave themselves, or some people blamed them to give them that you'll die now and in the next minute you are awake again with pleasurable things around. So we need the Christians, the Muslims, the Hausa, Fulani, the Hausa, the Fulani, the Igbo, the Yoruba, all the tribes in Nigeria to think about their self-interest. Because their self-interest is served by one Nigeria that is well organized with justice prevailing. It's a matter of knowing what our interest is. Look at Trump. That man was so hated. Even now, some are hating. But that man seems to be God sent. And 4 years to come, he will win again in America.
All right, we're keeping our fingers crossed. Looking at all that has happened in Anambra, the rerun elections, what would you say are the key lessons for you that should have been learned by the stakeholders, INEC, the tribunal, Dr. Obiora, Okonkwo, Ekwenife, and others? What do you think they should take away?
You are really in depth about Anambra.
I think INEC is learning its lessons fast. It might be some of these issues that have caused them to, bring out timetables early and allow people to do early. The earlier, the better, actually. And you see, Nigeria, the last 16 years or the last 20 years in politics have taught Nigerians to be more impatient than ever and to be more what would I say? When a politician does not get what he wants, he simply runs to court. Not because he believes he should get what he's asking for, but simply because he has been pushed and advised by, like you said, a pastor, an imam, or even someone personal. We don't look at issues critically. We look at it privately and personally, and we reduce it to ethnic issues, and then we take decisions on that basis. Someone tells you no, you don't agree, and then you go to court. It's okay to go to court, but what drives you to go to court? What inspires you to go to court? Is it because you are desperate? Is it because you simply feel you have been, you've seen a prophecy that has said you will be there, and it is on that basis that you are trying to make it happen? We would continue to have these cases until Nigerians think differently and think not about themselves but about others. I come from a small minority group. In fact, if you ask me, I'm from one of the people who agitate that the major tribal segregation of the country has caused more problems.
By far.
For us. By far. Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, and maybe when you add some little Nupe, Gwari, and the rest. Now there are over 450 tribes. In my local government alone, there are 3, 4, 5 tribes. All of them battling for for power within that little space. You come to the middle belt, there are so many tribes. So even when you are reducing the country to the 3 or 4 major tribes, it is for us, sometimes it sounds insulting, as if we don't form part of the system. And we believe that solving the problems of this country means bringing everybody to dialogue, sitting down on the table, talking about the problems. Each person should have a representation, not by force, but by choice.
Right. The fact that we're talking about
the
structure of the country.
I would like to make comment on
what is it? Okay.
Why do you go to court after the verdict of the people? Most of the people are hoping to buy judgment.
So our judicial is still a big problem.
Yes. Otherwise, you know, especially with this, the one in Anambra, how they did it. After the point of voting,
okay,
the result, and it's photographed. Then you go to local government, result, photographed. So eventually you will know you lost or you didn't lose. People who went to court didn't go because they believe they won. They believe that they have enough cash.
So we can say Dr. Obiora, for a typical example, was probably what played out when he got the judgment in November. Then only for this January, the same justice, John Soho, came out to say, okay,
I don't know
Dr. Obiora misled the court.
I don't know the details of that one, but I know that injustice is reigning, not justice. And we'll get to ethnic something. If Nigerians were to know properly that one Nigeria, properly organized for justice to prevail, is in the best interest of the smallest tribe, in the best interest of the largest tribe, and even properly organized with the kind of thing God has given to Nigeria. We don't need to be able to make progress to be everybody, every Nigerian. We have enough to go around.
All right, Victor Ume made a very strong comment before the elections where he said Obasanjo was an enemy of the Southeast because he was making reference to the fact that out of the 18 national and state results, it was only the number that was kept pending. The 79 of them was resolved. Can we truly say the system technically was against the Southeast?
Well, I cannot reduce the issue of Anambra State and use it to judge what happened in the Southeast. I think the Anambra people were peculiar people. When I was growing up, I got to know that Anambra people were very...
The most shrewdest people.
Yes, they were learned, smart, shrewd, and probably an aggregate of that caused the whole problem there. Nobody would leave out another person, feeling each superiority complex, I would say, might have crept into their own sort of politics. And when it happened in the first time and didn't hold water, you know, between Senator Ngige, Chris Uba, all those things that happened at that time, and it didn't, it fell off, it continued. But we're beginning to see some balance after Obiano. We're beginning to see some stability. And I hope it's good that their own election stands out of the remaining crowd, which means if the region votes differently and they vote differently, you know there's a certain temperature. If they all vote together, you know that there's a certain temperature. And yes, it is good because when they are voting alone, there's a national focus on them. And they need to do it the right way and get it the right time and all that. So I believe it's for the good of our own democracy.
All right, I just want to pass the same question to you as regards Chief Victor Ume's view as regards Obasanjo and the Southeast and the fact that out of the 80 National and State Assembly elections that were held, it was only the number that was kept hanging for a while. For you, how can the number of people take advantage of this difference they've cost and probably the fact that this election went smoothly, could it be an advantage for a number of people going forward?
I don't see any role, negative or positive, played by Basanjo. So please, we don't want to mess him up with this. We have gained massively from the delay. We have lost also heavily from the delay. But in terms of electioneering, the lessons from this election, to begin with, to do or die is no longer the issue. My brother wants to be governor. It's no longer the issue because nobody among those who came out to about 30-something people who came out to run for governor, many of them did not win the polling booth around them. So it's not just the brother or my brother came and said, let me go and vote for him. The Obiano won everywhere. They came to the Anambra North. The person who's qualified to go and do the job won everywhere. Nobody will go to court in the case of Anambra North. Nobody has gone to court in the case of Obiano. And I think instead of wasting money, look at what's happening elsewhere in Igbo land. There's one state where all the money seems to be going to the election tribunal.
As we wrap up now, I just want us to just shift gears a little bit to the other Igbo states in the southeast, especially Imo State, where Okorocha has had a lot of stake because of his penchant of building statues. And recently, we know that lots of other candidates are coming up trying to vie for that position. What do you think they should learn from the Anambra experience, especially the people of Imo State, as they have new emerging leaders trying to gun for that seat? What should they take away from Anambra?
I must say that Imo was better organized than Anambra because they started this zoning system. You know, you may forget I was the chairman of Power Sharing Committee in 2005, and we recommended zoning governorship positions by senatorial zones. And some states are still battling with it. Benue has not succeeded. Kogi was by accident. My friend died. My friend died and something happened. So I think what we are learning is not everybody will hold it. Only one person will hold a position at the same time. And therefore, let's give him a chance when he wins. If he doesn't win, if it is Magomago, okay, we're fine.
All right, on your final take, what will be for you, for other young parties just coming up? What are the chances and what are your expectations for them? Especially now that the big parties seem to be stumbling.
Yeah. Well, it's to our own advantage. If you put your house in order, you might be able to make some headway. It's not going to be easy. If anybody tells you that you just come together, put together a political party, and go out there and think you will win election, it's not going to happen. In my constituency, for instance, the first question is, why should I join your political party? And there are young people like me. It's easier to deal with them, and I'm telling them it's because I want you to be part of the democratic process. I want you to be able to approach me and talk to me. In my place, you vote you as senator, nobody goes into your house again until after another 4 years when you are coming back. That's it. You know, but if you're a young man like me, I'm not saying we should fight, but you can at least challenge me to some certain issues. Problems are not being solved in this country because people do not have access to their leaders. I was at a forum last December where one of the elders there was accusing openly a lawmaker who wasn't there at that forum. I've been to Abuja twice to see you on the issues concerning my constituency, and I've not been able to see you. And this is the truth. We must get to a level where you and the people, there isn't a hedge between you. And young parties, whether, unfortunately, our law allows for the proliferation of political parties.
Okay.
I hope that it will get to a climax one day that will stop registering. But like I said, it will continue because the political party is the only platform by which you can aspire to lead the people.
All right, on that note, we'll be calling a wrap on this edition of the program Politics and You. I want to say a big thank you to Chief Chukwuemeka Ezife for joining us on today's edition and giving us his very experienced, silent take as regards the lessons learned from the rerun elections in Anambra Central Senatorial elections that was held just recently. And still, congratulations to Chief Victor Ume for coming out tops in that election. Special thanks to the National Auditor of the Young Democratic Party in the person of Rafun Ibrahim Jauro for joining us and also adding his own spice to today's edition. My name remains Anthony Momodu, saying thank you for always being part of this very prime-time political program, Politics and You, on People's Television. You find us on channel 120 on the StarTimes decoder, and also we're loved and preferred in 52 countries on the Nicomsat USAT 1 Arrow channel. This is how we call it a wrap, and see you next week for another exciting edition.